Hey there, Christina Johnson here. Today's video is going to be for you if you are like one of the hundreds of people I've spoken to over the past few years who have gone on diets, lost weight, and then gained it back again. This is such a common issue, and I really believe it's because of the way most diets are set up. And so today, I just want to help you see some of the most common reasons why the weight tends to come back on after you go on a diet. And I think it's really important to understand why the weight's coming back on, why everything you've tried in the past hasn't worked. Because when you understand what hasn't worked about your past approaches, your past diets and programs and things you've tried, well, then you can start to figure out, if that didn't work, this is what I need to do instead. And so that's kind of my goal here, is to help you really get clear on why you might have gained the weight back in the past so that you have a better idea of what to do in the future. Because one thing I know for sure, I'm completely confident about this, is that it is totally possible for you to lose weight and keep it off for good by simply creating a really healthy, clean, and mindful eating lifestyle. And so I just want to give you some clarity around that. So I'm curious, before I get started, have you ever gone on a diet, lost weight, and then gained it back? Let me know. Just click the like button if that's you, if that's ever happened to you in the past. I would also be curious to know, have you ever gained more weight back than you lost? Because that's actually really common. So the research shows us that 95% of diets do not work. They don't help people lose weight and keep them off. And other research shows that 2/3 of people who go on a diet, 2/3, actually gain more weight back than they lost. And so that's really discouraging. We go on a diet because we think that's the answer. That's the way to get healthy, to lose weight, to feel better. But the truth is, they just don't set us up for success. So before I get started, if we haven't met yet, I'm Christina Johnson, a transformational nutrition coach, and I specialize in helping women who have struggled with dieting, with their weight, with food, with their bodies for years. And I help them create a clean and mindful eating lifestyle so that they can lose weight for good, have a better relationship with food, and just feel comfortable in their bodies again. So let's get started with those top 8 reasons why you might have gained weight back after you've lost it on a diet. And then after I do that, I'm also going to share with you a little more about this, but I have opened up 10 spots in my calendar over the next couple of weeks to offer 10 free lose weight and keep it off discovery sessions. So these sessions are a chance for you and I to talk, and you'll get my expert eyes on your situation. We'll talk about what you're struggling with right now. We'll uncover some of the reasons that are unique to you for why it's been a struggle to lose weight and keep it off, or to be consistent with eating healthy. And then once we get clear on what your goals are, what is most important to you, then we can kind of map out what are the next couple steps you need to take to start making that happen. And if there's a way that I can support you in the process, then I'll happily share that with you as well. So if you want to grab one of those sessions, I'll tell you a little bit more about it at the end. Or if you just want to grab one quick before they're gone, go to ChristinaJohnsonWellness.com/apply. You'll just answer a few questions, and then it'll take you to my calendar to schedule your session. Okay, so let's dive in and look at the 8 reasons why. So there could be hundreds of reasons why you gain weight back after a diet. And so I've just kind of listed out my top 8 that I see most commonly with people I'm working with. So number 1 is the short-term mindset of diets. So I think, how often have you decided, okay, I'm going to go on this diet, this program, this plan, and I'm going to follow it for however long until I lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 50 pounds. And so we go on this diet with the expectation that we're going to do it until we lose the weight. But the problem is, we don't really think about, or the diet doesn't show us what to do after the weight is off. And so what happens is we go on the diet until we lose that weight, but in our mindset, then we think we can start going back to some of those habits and behaviors that we had before. And so in our mind, we haven't really changed our thinking. We're just thinking this is a temporary plan and then we'll be able to go about our life as normal. And we all know that just doesn't work. Okay, number 2 is the fact that diets just aren't sustainable. I mean, think about how difficult a lot of diets are. You know, there's so many ones where you have to weigh and measure your food. You have to track every bite you put in your mouth. They're just kind of complicated. And my whole philosophy is we need to lose weight in the same way you intend to keep it off. So if you don't plan on counting points for the rest of your life, then maybe that's not the best way to lose the weight. If you don't plan, I think about like the cabbage soup diet. That was years ago, I know. But like if you don't plan on eating cabbage soup every day for the rest of your life, then let's not lose weight in that way. And sure, there are certain times where doing something for a little bit of time can be a great reset or restart for the body. But ultimately, we need a long-term weight loss plan that we feel like we can actually stick with long-term. We want to lose weight in the same way that you'll keep it off. Okay, number 3, this is a big one, that diets don't usually teach us what to do after we lose the weight. And I kind of alluded to this before already, but most plans, they're not really clear on how do I maintain this weight loss? What does life look like after I've lost the weight? And to be honest, there's something I think for a lot of people kind of exciting and motivating about the process of weight loss. So, you know, if you're weighing yourself every week and you lose a pound, you lose 2 pounds, that's exciting. That's like a little bit of a dopamine rush to your brain. And so that can keep us going. But once we hit the maintenance phase and we're not still losing weight, then we're not getting that little bit of rush and motivation and encouragement, which means that it can be harder mentally to really stay in the game of eating healthy, which makes it harder to be consistent. So we really need to figure out, like, how do we have the right mindset so that once we get to our ideal healthy weight for our body, that we're not expecting that rush and excitement of continuing to drop the pounds. Okay. Number 4, and I would suggest as I go through this, as a little side note, kind of use this as a checklist and maybe just jot down which ones you think apply the most to you. So kind of a little self-assessment. So number 4 is that most diets leave us feeling hungry, restricted, deprived, and that is no way to live. You know, there's so many diets where you feel hungry all the time, or where you're still struggling with cravings, where you can't stay away from certain foods. And honestly, in those programs, it's almost like the healthy food feels like a punishment. You know, I had a client tell me a couple months ago that she used to eat salads when she was dieting because she felt like she had to, but she wasn't excited about it. She wasn't looking forward to it. It just felt like something she had to do. And so she kind of dreaded eating salads. But when she switched her mindset and took more of a clean eating approach, then she realized it's not just like she has to eat salads as a punishment, but instead she's fueling her body with all these amazing healthy nutrients, and it helps her feel good. And by shifting her mindset, it wasn't about deprivation and restriction. Instead, it was about fueling and nourishing her body. Then all of a sudden, it felt much easier to eat those salads, and she actually enjoyed them. You know, the other thing I think too that's really important to notice is that on a lot of diets, we think that healthy food is bland and boring and just won't taste good. And again, that doesn't have to be the case. Like I said, just wrapped up my last clean eating program, and I've been talking to people who did the program, and I can't tell you how many people tell me it actually was pretty easy to follow because they enjoyed the food. It tasted good, and they were feeling full and satisfied, so they weren't thinking about food all the time, and that makes all the difference. So when you're trying to eat healthy and lose weight, you really want to find a plan where you enjoy what you're eating, and then you'll actually want to stick with it long term. Okay, number 5, the 5th reason why you might have gained the weight back in the past is that diets promote all or nothing thinking. So we often think like we're on a diet or we're off the diet. And when we're on the diet, we're eating perfectly, we're doing all the things, but the minute we slip up, the minute we eat that, piece of chocolate cake or the ice cream or the bag of chips, then all of a sudden we're off the diet. And when we're off the diet, it's like anything goes, right? I mean, how often has that happened to you? And so we tend to be able to eat healthy for a few weeks, a few months, but then once we slip up or once we're off the diet, then it's like all those restrictions from being on the diet are gone. And so now we feel like we have free reign to eat whatever we want, whenever we want. And there really has to be more of a balance there. Okay, number 6 is that most diets focus primarily on cutting back food. So oftentimes when people tell me they're trying to eat healthy or lose weight, they're telling me that, well, I just need to eat fewer calories. I need to, cut back my portion sizes and exercise more. And the truth is that actually, all the latest nutrition research shows us that that's not enough. It's not enough to just eat less. We really need to focus on what we're eating, because when you fuel your body with good, healthy foods, the cravings go away. You feel full, you feel satisfied, you're not hungry, and so you can actually stick with it. And in addition, when we're focused only on cutting back how much we're eating, we're ignoring some of the other factors that affect weight loss, like not getting enough sleep, not managing our stress. And so if you were only focused on diets you've done in the past, if you were only focused on just watching how much you ate, there's other factors that you probably missed out on that once you stop counting and controlling how much food you eat, those other factors really make a big difference. And so number 7 is that most diets, and this kind of goes along with number 6, but most diets do not get to the root cause of why you actually gained weight in the first place or why there's extra weight on your body. I believe wholeheartedly that when we have extra weight on our body, that is a symptom of some other underlying imbalance. And maybe that's a hormonal imbalance. Maybe that's your gut health. Maybe that's your blood sugars all over the place. Maybe stress is causing your cortisol levels to be high. Maybe you're not getting enough sleep. Maybe you're having some emotional eating or mindless eating going on. Whatever it is, there's a reason why there's extra food on your body, and it is not just because you like food too much, or it's not just because you can't control yourself, you don't have motivation or willpower. There's an underlying reason why that's the case. And diets, they just don't get to that. So again, we can go on a diet, we can follow it for a while, we can force our way through the diet in order to lose some weight. But once you stop the diet, those underlying reasons are still there, and they're going to cause the weight to come back on. So we must address those underlying reasons. Otherwise, it's this continual cycle of losing weight and gaining it back again, because the diet is just a Band-Aid. All right, the final one, number 8, is, and this is a big one. I probably should have put this as number 1. It's probably the most important. But most of the time when we lose weight and we're on a diet, we're not figuring out why we want to eat even though we're not actually hungry. And this is critical. Most of the time we have extra weight on our body because we're eating more than we need to. And it's not just because you don't have the willpower or the motivation to say no. There's always some underlying reason. So we have the physical hunger where you're actually hungry and you need to eat. And then we have all the other reasons why you want to eat. Maybe you just are in the habit of having something sweet after dinner. Maybe you always reward yourself with a treat. And so when you accomplish something, you want to reward yourself with food. Maybe you're just stressed out and food is just comforting. Or maybe food is comforting in another way. It just provides comfort, or it's something fun to do in your life, or you just eat in social situations. Maybe you just grab food without even thinking about it. You walk by some food and just put it in your mouth and don't stop twice to think about whether or not you're hungry. So this is one of the biggest things we really need to do, is figure out, why do you eat when you're not actually hungry? And once you just start becoming more aware of that, I think you might be surprised by how often you're eating without being hungry. And just by becoming aware and then putting some tools in place, you can really get that under control where it's not a habit and not so automatic anymore. So those are my top 8 reasons for why we tend to gain weight back after we lose it. I'm curious which ones you can relate to the most. So I'm gonna do a quick recap and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about that special offer I have as well. So number 1 was just the short-term mindset of diets. Number 2 is that diets are not sustainable long-term. 3, diets don't teach us what to do after we lose the weight in order to keep it off. Number 4 is diets feel so restrictive, we're deprived, we're hungry. Number 5 is that diets promote that all or nothing thinking. Number 6, they focus primarily on cutting back food and not on other factors. Number 7 is that diets don't get to the root cause of why we gained weight in the first place, so those things are still there. Number 8 is we don't figure out why we eat when we're not actually hungry. So which ones of those do you feel like has stopped you from being able to keep the weight off? I would love to hear, just let me know in the comments. And so, like I briefly mentioned at the beginning, I would love to help you start narrowing in a little bit more on why it's been a struggle to lose weight and keep it off. Why maybe you've been on 1, 2, 10, 20 different diets and have lost weight, but it's come back on. Or maybe even if weight's not an issue, but you just feel like you have been having trouble being consistent with eating healthy. I'd love to help you figure out what are some of your obstacles that are kind of keeping you in that pattern. And so I've opened 10 spots in my calendar over the next couple of weeks for complimentary lose weight and keep it off discovery sessions. And so this is a 30 to 45 minute session with me. You and I will talk either on the phone or Zoom, your choice. But it's a chance for me to really help you get clear on what you're struggling with, why things haven't worked for you before, and then we'll look at what your goals are. What do you want to have happen? And what are the next steps you need to take, kind of a little roadmap to make that happen. And if there is a way that I can support you in that, then I want to share that with you as well. Absolutely no pressure. You're not under any obligation to sign up for one of my programs. But if it seems like one might be a good fit, I can tell you about it and just answer any questions. But ultimately, the purpose of this session is for you to get really clear on what you've been struggling with and what you could try that would be different than the things you've done in the past. Because once you take a different approach, I promise you, it feels so much easier to lose weight. You can stop struggling with food. And that's what I've seen over and over with people. When they take a clean and mindful eating approach, they're able to lose weight in a way that just becomes their normal lifestyle. It doesn't feel like they're on a diet. And so it's really simple for them to continue it. And by working on the underlying reasons why they want to eat, that makes it easier as well. So I'd love to offer you one of these sessions so we can kind of dive into what's going on for you. If you'd like one, you can just send me a message if you want, and I'll send you a link to my calendar. Or you can go to ChristinaJohnsonWellness.com/apply, and I'll put that link either in the comments or in the description. But just go there, you'll answer a couple questions to give me a little bit of background information before we talk, and then that once you hit submit, that will take you directly to my calendar, and you can book a session in the next week or two that works for you. So I hope that we get a chance to talk soon. These sessions, I've had so many people tell me after them that they just have so much clarity from the session about, what's been keeping them stuck. And also most people end up feeling really hopeful that it is possible to lose weight in a healthy, sustainable way that they enjoy. And so that's what I would love to give you in these sessions, just some hope, some encouragement, and some clarity. So please go ahead, grab one of these 10 spots while they're open. And I also almost forgot to mention, but if you do decide to enroll in any of my coaching programs, then I have a special gift for you as well when you book one of these 10 free spots. So go ahead, grab your spot, ChristinaJohnsonWellness.com/apply, and I will talk to you very soon. Have a great night.